Your Daily 180, 180 seconds of pure Bible study.
Welcome to this, your Daily 180 Bible study. We're looking at Acts chapter 17, Paul's sermon at Mars Hill, also known as the Areopagus. And Paul has made the point in verse number 26, God is guiding history. He's not making people do anything against their will, but nevertheless, He's guiding history. There's a great example of that in Daniel chapter 4. And this really should make us want to decide. We're creatures of choice. We need to make the choice. I want to be on God's side because I know that He's going to win. History is going to go the way He ultimately wants it to go. Now, He's going to allow men to do evil things along the way, but ultimately His will is going to be accomplished. And in Daniel chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. And he calls for Daniel, and Daniel is beside himself. He's really not happy. And in verse number 19, Daniel in essence says, "Oh, King, I just wish this was about somebody else. I wish it was about your enemies and not about you." But he goes on and he tells him the meaning of the dream, and ultimately Nebuchadnezzar is going to go out. He's going to go mad. He's going to go out and he's going to graze like a wild beast, and he's going to look like a wild beast until he comes to the realization that God's in charge. Verse number 25 of Daniel chapter 4. They shall drive you from men, your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make you eat grass like oxen. They shall wet you with the dew of heaven, and 7 times shall pass over you till you know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men and gives it to whomever He chooses. And as we look at this, we realize God says this is going to happen. And then in verse number 29 and 30, we see that He's in his royal palace. This is Nebuchadnezzar's in his royal palace, and he's walking around, and he says, "Is this not great Babylon that I have built for a royal dwelling, for my mighty power and for the honor of my majesty?" The kingdom departed from him. And it wasn't until he realized that God was in charge, and we see in verse 34 and verse 35, then he comes back to his right mind. And he says, speaking of God, "For His dominion is an everlasting dominion, and His kingdom is from generation to generation." You see, the reality is God's not making us do good or bad. We have the choice. Why not choose to be on His side? Because ultimately He's going to win. He is going to be the one running the show and calling the shots, not us. Join us again next week for your Daily 180.